And there's so much hope and redemption in a story like Home Alone. And it's such a small part of the story, and yet it really spoke to me.
Candles in the window, shadows painting the ceiling, gazing at the fog glow, feeling that gingerbread feeling. Precious moments, special people, happy faces I can see somewhere in my memory. Christmas joys all around me, living in my memory. All of the music, all of the magic, all of the family home here with me. Somewhere in my memory, Christmas joys all around me, living in my memory. All of the music's all around me, and the precious moments, the special people, happy faces I can see somewhere in my memory. Christmas joys all around me, deep within my memory. All of the music, all of the magic, all of the family home here with me.
Hi everyone, I hope you enjoyed that song, Somewhere in My Memory. My mum requested it actually, and I'd kind of said, oh no, it's a little bit sad. But then, having watched Home Alone so many times, I always look for the redemption in stories, especially if I'm watching a movie. I try to look for the redemptive themes running through. And what I realised was this lovely little comedy, Home Alone. You know, most of you are going to know the story of Kevin McAllister, who ends up home alone and he misses the flight with his parents, and they sort of forget that he's there, and he ends up home alone, and it's quite a lonely time for him really, but he finds all these activities to do while he's by himself, and he ends up with these sort of burglars on the they're after him, and they're after the house. They want things from the house, and he sets up all the booby traps and stuff near the end. and it is quite fun. But this song, somewhere in my memory, it kind of runs throughout the film in the more serious parts. And I love the story about the old man Morley, you know, and the rumour is that he's like a serial killer and he's this horrible person. And Kevin McAllister's like so afraid of him when he sees him. But what I noticed was, like, I love that scene when Kevin McAllister, like on Christmas Eve, he steps into a church and old man Morley sat there to his surprise, and he ends up sitting next to him. And you know, they have this lovely conversation really, where old man Morley kind of tells Kevin, you know, that he's not a serial killer. And Kevin suddenly realises that this man's not who he thought he was. And he ends up also telling Kevin, you know, that his granddaughter who's singing in the choir, you know, that it's the only time he gets to see his granddaughter singing, once a year, because he's had a fallout with his son. And you know, it's this really beautiful exchange between this little boy and old man Morley, as Kevin suggests to him, you know, why don't you make up with your son? Why don't you make things right? And you know, he puts this seed, puts this idea there. Anyway, you know, most of you will have seen the film, so I'm not really giving too much away. Please turn it off if you haven't seen it, just for the slight chance, because I'm just going to say something about the ending. You know, old man Morley was actually the rescuer. That this man that he actually thought was like really horrible ended up rescuing Kevin. You know, Kevin's parents return and all the family return, and that song's playing somewhere in my memory. And there's this beautiful scene where he looks out the window and the two wet bandits, the burglars, have been caught and they're all feathers and everything and the police take them off. And he looks out the window and he sees old man Morley with his granddaughter, and he sees him hugging his son again. And there's this beautiful smile at the end, you know, they see each other through the window, and it's this beautiful scene of like grace and redemption. And to be honest, I hadn't really thought about it too deeply before, but as I was thinking about this song and sort of convincing myself not to do it, I realised that actually there's so much hope in a song like Somewhere in My Memory. You know, for many reasons, I've lost loved ones in my past, I've lost friends when I was a little child and all kinds of stuff. But somewhere in my memory, it reminds me that actually the precious people in our lives and the precious moments are to be cherished, and memories are special. But also, for those of us who are still living and breathing another day, there's so much to be grateful for. And there's so much hope and redemption in a story like Home Alone. And it's such a small part of the story, and yet it really spoke to me. So my question, I guess, tonight is, are you at peace with everybody in your life? You know, I've had some Christmases over the years where there's been people in my life that I haven't been really like friendly with, or sometimes as a child you get caught up in things with the family where you naturally can't see people or speak to people that you'd want to. But I've learned over the years as I grew up and, you know, found Jesus, that life's so short and life's too short to be at loggerheads with anyone, you know. And I think the main thing in that story for me was forgiveness. I just thought it was beautiful. And even at the end of the film, you know, you see Kevin and his brother who are always sort of fighting at the beginning, you know, and even they sort of do a bit of a, you know, they make up like teenage boys would, you know, and it's just beautiful. And I don't mean that to sound cheesy, you know, but guys, I know it's very real in many of our lives. Like, you know, I pray tonight that none of us will have enemies this Christmas, as far as it depends on us. And if there's people that won't make up with you in your life and you want to, God sees that, He knows that, you know, and you can give that to Him. You can sort of release that to God, and you can choose to forgive, and you can choose to still have the joy and the peace of Christmas in your own heart. Forgiveness isn't always an easy thing, because it always means somebody has to kind of step down from their high horse, I guess. You know, and sometimes it is unfair. I've been hurt in my own life. I've been wrongly abused, wrongly treated when I was younger, and I've learnt though that forgiveness is so powerful. And actually I've learnt that none of us really deserve forgiveness. Like, I've done things bad in my own life and I've really longed to be forgiven for. And you know, God forgives us, and that's the whole reason why we celebrate the birth of Jesus and the life of Jesus. You know, at Easter we celebrate that he went to the cross for the things that we've done wrong, and God chooses to forgive us and embrace us with arms of grace, and he wants us to do the same with each other. I really pray that this Christmas you'll be able to find it in your heart to forgive anyone who's hurt you, to bless those who've persecuted you or those who've made enemies of you. I really pray that you'll be able to be forgiven if you're somebody that's longing for that. And you know, guys, when God forgives us, it's a done deal. So I just pray tonight that you will be able to experience the peace of God and the grace of God. I also pray for all those who are alone at this time, and you know, Christmas does seem like a memory. I pray for new opportunities for you. I pray that you will find ways of being able to experience the joy of Christmas. I pray that you'll know the presence of God with you. And I pray for redemption in your relationships with people in the name of Jesus.